it's the Just Peachy Intervention Lady. Today I want to walk you through one of my absolute favorite tools for helping struggling learners and English learners feel confident with multi-digit multiplication. My area model work mats have been a game changer. When students first see a big multiplication problem and they hit this about 4th grade, it can feel really overwhelming, especially if they do not have mastery of their basic multiplication facts. But this area model breaks everything down into clear, predictable steps that build on skills they already know, like place value, adding, and expanded form. I love this approach because it's visual, it's organized, and it shows the students why the math works. Each box on the mat represents a smaller, more manageable partial product, and you can even connect it to the real-world concept of finding area by multiplying the length times the width, because that's really what the area model is. In this video, I'll show you exactly how I model each step, how I use routines to build student independence, and how these mats help my English language learners and intervention students successfully access grade level standards. Let's make multiplication sweet, simple, and totally doable, one box at a time. In my last tutorial, I showed you how the help box in the partial quotient method connects directly to the routine we use when multiplying using the area model. The partial quotient method and the area model method both have several steps, but what I've found over the years is that when we teach those steps clearly, model them consistently, and expect students to follow the same routine every time, it truly builds confidence. That predictability removes those overwhelming emotions and helps students see that big problems can be broken into manageable pieces. And while I often teach from the perspective of supporting struggling learners and students learning English, I firmly believe that best practices for my ESOL students and EIP students are best practices for everyone. Clear routines, visual models, and consistent steps make math more accessible for all learners, no matter where they're starting. Let's go ahead and get started with my first work mat. This is my 1-digit by 2-digit multiplication work mat using the area model method. You'll notice that there are similarities between how things are set up with the area model method and with the work mat for our partial quotient division method. I'm going to start simply with a 2-digit times 1-digit equation. Again, we always write the equation at the top. And this is where we're going to go back and we're going to talk about, remember, place value. Now, this is not grade level expectation as far as 4th and 5th grade, but this is where I start. I start so that they can start to feel success, so that they understand these are the procedures, this is routine, this is how I do it. And then I remove this mat, I give them the next, and I just build on those bite-sized little pieces of information until they are finally at grade level work and they are thriving. All right, so we're going to start with 36. First thing we're going to do is we're going to use expanded form. We're going to talk about what is the value of the 3 in the tens place. Well, 3 tens is 30. I'm going to write the number 30 plus, and now I have 6 ones. The value of 6 in the ones place is 6. So there's my first number, 30 plus 6. And then this one's easy because we are just multiplying by a single digit. 4 ones is 4, so I'm going to write 4 right here. Now, this is where the finding area, and this is why it's called the area model. So 4 times 30, we always make sure the students write the equation at the top. 4 times 30, then 4 times 6. I personally make them write all of the equations first before they start solving the partial products, just because I feel like it helps with just the routine of things. Once we have our equations, then this is where you probably remembered this procedure. We always start by underlining the first digit. 4 times 3 is 12.10. So 4 times 30 is 120. 4 times 6 is 24. Now, I have seen sometimes where people want to draw a line underneath the equation. I recommend not doing that because when you draw an extra line, it kind of becomes kind of like a different problem. So for instance, if I were to flip back here, here is a 3-digit by 2-digit. So I feel like once you start drawing lines, then that's actually showing a different area model. So I would not recommend that. I would just recommend write your equation, write your partial product below. Now, once we have our partial products, that is where we move them over to our place value mat. So I'm going to take 120, check, move it over here. I did make it pretty large because obviously as we multiply larger numbers, we're going to have more partial products to add. Then I'm going to move my 24 over, and then I'm going to go ahead and add. And then I always make them go back and write their product to finish the equation. So that is how I use the area model work mat. This is where we start. This is just teaching the procedures, teaching the routines. This is what we do. Once they have that, then I'm going to move on to the next mat. So this is 1-digit by 3-digit. So if I were to do that, let's see, let's do 465 times, let's do 3. So same thing. First, we're going to find the value of each digit in each place. 4 in the hundreds place, the value is 400. 6 in the tens place is 60. 5 in the ones place is 5. We're multiplying by 3. 3 in the ones place, the value is 3. Once we have that, we're going to build our equations in each of our boxes for our area model. I always start 3 times 400. 3 times 60. And this procedure and routine is important once we start multiplying by 2 digits, and you'll see that in a minute. 3 times 5. Now that I have my equations, I'm going to go back and multiply following the same structure. 3 times 4 is 12. 1, 2, 2 zeros. 3 times 6 is 18. 1 0. 3 times 5 is 15. Now that I have my partial products, I'm moving them over here to my work mat. 1,200 plus 180 plus 15. Go ahead and add. And again, I'm not going over this, but every single time, where do we start? We start in the ones place. Do I have to regroup? No, I don't have to regroup. Next, I go to the tens place. I verbally talk about the steps all of the time with the children. And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to write my product, and that is done. So that is 1-digit times 3-digit. Started with 1-digit times 2, building procedures, routines, and confidence. Then once they've got that, I move to the 1-digit by 3-digit. Once they have this, then I move to 1-digit times 4-digit. So again, same thing. I'm just making up random problems here. Let's do times 5. We start by what is the value of the digit in the thousands place. That is 5,658 times 5. Put my 5 here. And I'm writing the equations first. The reason why I don't allow them to do it in their head, because they make silly mistakes, especially if they have a product of, let's say it was 5 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20, but then we also have 3 more zeros. Oftentimes what they do is they count that 0 in the 20 as one of the 3 zeros, and then that skews their whole problem and their whole answer. So that's why I always tell them, nope, non-negotiable. We have to write the equation first. 5 times 5,000, 5 times 600. And you notice I literally, I will even make them touch. with their pencil. 5 times 50. And it's just creating those neural pathways, you know, getting that brain working as many possible ways. Say it, touch it, write it, activating all of those different neurons. And then finally we have 5 times 8. Same procedure. 5 times 5 is 25. 1, 2, 3. 3 zeros. 5 times 6 is 30. And this is the instance that I was talking to you about. And this is why we do what we do. 5 times 6 is 30. Done. Now I count my zeros. 1, 2. 2 zeros. Because most of the time, what they will do is they already see that 0 and they'll just put another 0. Okay, well, I've got 2 zeros. No. It's write the product first. 1, 2. You're adding 2 more zeros. 5 times 5 is 25. 1, 0. I got talking and I switched my factors, but that's okay. 5 times 8 is 40. Once I have my partial products, I'm bringing them over here. And you can see that the work mat is starting to get a little bit more full because we have a larger number, obviously. All right, so let's go ahead and start with 25,000. 3,000, 250, and 40. And you can see here why I include this place value chart, just to help them make sure that all of the digits are lined up in the correct place. All right, once we have shown mastery of that, then we're going to move on to 2-digit times 2-digit. So this is where the 4th grade standard ends. And then the last math that I have actually is a 5th grade standard. So I'm just going to show you that real quick when I'm done. All right, so 2-digit times 2-digit. This is where things can get a little hairy scary because now they have to expand 2 numbers, and figuring out which equation goes in which box, sometimes this can throw them off. All right, let's see. Let's do 27 times 42. So I'm going to start. 2 10s is 20. 7 1s is 7. 4 10s, 40. 2 1s, 2. Once I have that, I always have them go across. So that's the same procedure that I started here. So we're going to go across on that first row. Then we're going to go to the bottom row and we're going to go across on the bottom row. 40 times 20. 40 times 7. Then I've got that row. Now I'm going down to this row. 2 times 20. 2 times 7. Now that I have my equations, I'm following that same routine. 4 times 2 is 8. 1, 2. 4 times 7 is 28. 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 1, 0. 2 times 7 is 14. Then I'm taking my partial products and I'm moving them over to my place value chart to add them. I will note that I typically will have the kids check off as they write it that it's actually over here, because I have had students that have forgotten to move all of their partial products over into the place value chart, which means they got their answer wrong because they missed one of their partial products. So let me model that. So 800, I'm writing that now, check. 280, brought it over, 40, and 14. Go ahead and add, regroup. Again, I would be talking the kids through this process. We start in the ones place. Good. We have a 4. Did we have to regroup? No. We moved to the tens place. 8 plus 4 is 12. 12 plus 1 is 13. Can I write 13 in the tens place? No. I have to regroup that to the hundreds place. So I did not do that for you because you are teachers, but I did want to just remind you that verbiage and saying it over and over and over again is so, so important. And then we'll write our final product, and we have 1,134. So that is how we do that. I am not going to explain and show a 3 by 2 digit because I think you kind of probably get the idea. First, we do expanded form, get it set up, and we follow the same procedure. Equation, 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 partial products, and add. I did want to show you one more. This is the universal work mat. So after we have gone through and we have used all of these work mats and we have had success, the next step, I'm going to put them on the universal work mat. This is where they are going to learn how to set up the problem completely on their own without any supports. Let's go ahead and get started. I am going to do a, I'll do a 3 digit by 2 digit just so that you can see what it might look like. So this is 5th grade standard, 3 digit times 2 digit. And this is how we would approach it. So just like we used on our work mats, we're going to start. What is the value of the 4 in the hundreds place? 400 plus. Adding the plus signs is important, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. 2 tens, which is 20, plus 4 ones, plus. Now, these plus signs are important because they're going to help the kids know how many lines to draw to make their area model. Let me finish the expanded form for this. So we've got 20 plus 3. Now watch this. Follow the plus sign down, and that is how you know how many boxes you need for your area model. Makes sense, right? It's just those little things that I have found working as an interventionist and working with English language learners. Like, it's those little things that help set them up for success. All right, so let's go ahead. So we're going to do 20 times 400. Again, I'd like to touch 20 times 20, 20 times 4, 3 times 400, 3 times 20, 3 times 4. Once we have our equations, then we're going to multiply. 2 times 4 is 8. 1, 2, 3. 3 zeros. 2 times 2 is 4. 1, 2 zeros. 2 times 4 is 8. 1 0. 3 times 4 is 12. 1, 2, 2 zeros. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 0. 3 times 4 is 12. Once we have our partial products, we're going to take it over to find our product to 424 times 23. I'm not going to solve it, but you get the idea. We bring everything over, we check it as we go. I will say, if you have students that have not mastered their basic multiplication facts, don't let the fact that they don't know their basic multiplication facts get in the way of them learning how to solve multi-digit multiplication. Go ahead, give them a multiplication chart, let them use that, because ultimately we want them to understand the routine, the procedure, and the structure of how to solve a multi-digit multiplication problem, and learning their basic facts is going to come. Like, that's something that I'm sure most everyone, I know this is how it is at my school, like, that's something we're working on all year long, is solidifying those math facts. But don't let that get in the way of them being successful. Give them that tool to help them be successful. Then once they have better mastery of their math facts, then take it away. The last thing I want to talk about is, once, just like the partial quotient division mats, once they've shown me that they can use this and they know the structure, they know the routine, then it's to the point where I'm giving them a piece of paper and I'm having them make their own area model. Most of the time I have them work on lined paper. If you turn it horizontal, you've got your perfect lines to make sure you line up the correct places when you're adding your partial products. And so then I let them do it on their own. And again, I kind of feel like a broken record, but I have seen time and time again over the past 4 years of students who have come into math class who feel that they are less than and that they are failures and that math is hard and they can't do it. And I have also seen time and time again, by using these structures, by having these routines, by having these scaffolds, it's transformational. They have gone from students that are failing to students that are thriving with grade level content work. So to say that I believe in these mats is an understatement, and that I believe in these procedures and teaching like this is an understatement. I know that there's always going to be people that are like, well, that's not the way I learned, and it's not the way I learned either. But I will say that when you work with multiple grade levels like I do see how all of the standards do build on each other to help create an understanding of what you're actually doing, not just rote memorization. Well, just do this because I told you to do this. But I would love if you are using this procedure, these routines in your classroom. I would love for you to let me know what you think. If you have tweaked it in a way, or if you found something that works a little bit better. I consider myself a lifelong learner. I'm always learning from other educators and other experts in the field. And this is just one thing that has worked for our students. I would love to know if it works for yours. As always, any of my work mats and some of my task card challenge games that I have designed to mirror these math problems, and I've included these work mats in the bundle. They are available on my Teachers Pay Teachers store. It is Just Peachy Intervention Lady, and I would love for you to follow me there so that you don't miss out on any of my new resources and fun games and tons of freebies. Thanks so much for tuning in. I know it was another long one, but I hope it was beneficial, and I hope you took something away from this tutorial. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.